It's the activated AF1. We are the Futuritarians. First and foremost, I'm going to say peace, power, and soul. And also shout out to the brothers Reyes, UNONC. You want to check that brother's channel out. We hooking up as the council, and we're going to bring forth together the ones that are tired of being around zeros. What do you mean by that, AF1, when you say ones and you say zeros? Because the zeros, when you're dealing with the quantum physics, the zeros have been manipulated for thousands and thousands of years. So now that we back from the future, we're telling everybody this is why the planet is not altering and shifting. This is exactly why it's not altering and it's not shifting. And it's going to get worse and worse without the ones, the real ones, the golden people, the ones that do not have a mindset of information, a mindset of religion, a mindset of the past. See, all this stuff been orchestrated to hold the golden race back, to hold them back, because they knew that the ones was going to come back and be activated dealing with the junk DNA. Junk DNA is not junk. They called it junk because once you can tap in to that, strain, then you become somewhat of a superhero. Not in the physical 3D realm. I'm talking about with mental mind power, mental extension. See, us as the Futuritarians, we already know what's ahead in the future. And some people are going to be down with it, some people are not. That's fine. But when you're dealing with altering and shifting the planet, we are altering and shifting the planet. I'm going to give you an example of how the Futuritarians AF1, aka Neo, is altering and shifting the planet. We are the ones altering and attacking the zero structure of the quantum physics. So we're the ones that's altering and shifting everything. I'm going to give you an example. When you watch the news, go watch CNN, go watch the news. Now, when you do research on it, because a lot of you guys like to Google and research stuff that has nothing to do with the future. So when you research that, yeah, go watch the news and see how many times they're saying Intel, 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 Intel. Who you think they got that from? They got that from AF1. They got that from Neo, Intel, Intel, because they're trying to keep up with the authorization because they know what's happening. Coming up with next things, coming up with future things. Everything on this planet, now just listen to what I'm saying. Everything on this planet is 9.9 billion years old. So that means that we're 9.9 billion years behind in technology. Anything that you think of, that's not your idea. You just pulled it from somewhere else. You pulled it from the upper dimensions. You have to be tapped in. That's why when they say junk DNA, because that's why when you was born with limitations, because everybody's not worthy of going up to the upper dimensions because you have to already be up there. It gets real deep and it gets real confusing, but there's nothing to be confused about because it's right here, because we back. We sitting here telling y'all this. Dealing with the upper dimensions, going past quantum physics. Is that possible, AF1? Yeah, it's possible because we're doing it over here. That's why I said if you ain't over here, good luck. And that's not being cocky. That's just because we can see the future. You thought the coronavirus, you thought that was something when you was in your house on lockdown? Shit, wave 2 ain't even came yet. The wave 2 is coming. It has to, because this planet has to alter and shift. Now, if you have something that's in your body that you allow for it to get up in there, if you're not activated, your junk DNA, once that gets activated, it doesn't turn to junk. You know what that turns to? That turns to intelligence and power. And that makes your blood intelligence and power. That makes your cells, your blood, your DNA be activated. Anything can get in our body and our body will eat it up. Remember how Pac-Man used to eat those circles up? That's what happens when you're a Futuritarian, when you tapped into the upper dimensions from the 13th dimension and down, pulling from the 14th dimension. Just like as the ones down here are pulling from the 4th dimension, the ones up there are pulling from the 14th dimension, dealing with the 13 dimensions. Why do you think when you're dealing with some of these organizations, they deal with the number 13? The reason why there's 13 bloodlines is because each bloodline equals a dimension. That's why there's 13 bloodlines. When you're dealing with some of these religions, what happens when their daughter and son turns 13? They have a celebration for him. All this is galactical code systems, but now Neo's back. Everything's being revealed, dealing with the Futuritarians. Because what happens is they're ones. The ones manipulate the zeros. This has been going on for thousands of years, and it has to be like that. So you have to make a decision if you're going to be a zero or a one. Are you going to be a one around zeros? Because over here it's the ones with the ones. That's why our number is the 11, the top of the mind chain. Our number is the 11, the top of the mind chain, 1111. What we celebrate, you know when our solar day is? November 11th. That's our solar day, November 11th, 1111. And see, when these ones manipulate these zeros, they've been doing it for thousands of years, and now everything's being put in the forefront with the Futuritarians. Yup, Neo is back through the cyberverse. We was gonna go live on Spotify, but they shadow banned us. That's cool. It is what it is, because they can't see. The thing is with these people, what they really don't know, all these people that own these big platforms and stuff like that, these servers, and they shadow ban you, especially us. I'm not even talking about y'all. When they do that to us, there's consequences with that. You know what I'm saying? There's consequences that's going to be that. It might be in their personal life. It might be with their business, because we control the dimensions. We're in the 13th dimension. This is our past. This is our old selves, because that's the only way you can tap in. So that's why when you look at that movie Hancock, go look at that movie Hancock, and remember when he was always getting reconnected with his wife throughout thousands of years. They get reconnected. This was happening. This was happening with the council. It's never been about community building. It's never been about running organizations. It's never been about a church. It's always been about the council. I'm going to give y'all an example of when I'm talking about the council. The Supreme Court. Look at the Supreme Court, right? What the Supreme Court has the last say so when it comes to stuff that's big. So you're dealing like, I'm going to give you an example. Say like the president had did some way out stuff, just went crazy, went through an insane asylum, this and that. And then he did something where he had to be judged. He would have to go to Supreme Court. What is Supreme Court? That's the council. That's what the Supreme Court is. It's a council. It's always been about a council. It's never been about one individual running stuff. That works for regular people, zeros and regulars. That's the structure that was put in for. If you want to alter and shift the planet, you have to be a one, and you have to be over here with the council, the next council, because we sit down at a table, just like the mafia. Remember in the mafia, right? When it was real heavy, in like the 80s and 90s in New York City, they used to go to war. And after so many people died, what did they do? They had their leaders had to sit down at the table. They had to, because they were just so sick of all the killing. So they had to come to a stalemate. They sat down at the table. They came to a stalemate. What was that? That was the council. It's always been like this. Egypt was separated. Egypt was separated. The kingdoms throughout Egypt, they were all separated, but at the same time, they all came back together as one, sat down as a council building, dealing with ones and zeros, dealing with your digital fingerprint. And see, a lot of people's putting stuff on the internet, and when you're dealing with these servers, that stuff's going to be there forever. So, man, the stuff I see in the future, man, it don't look good for regular people, man. It really don't. It don't look good for regular people. The only reason why this stuff ain't failed fully is because we here. That's why it hasn't failed. And y'all's welcome. But yeah, this AF1, the Futuritarian, aka Neo, back on the planet, doing some things. We moving stuff forward, man. You look at the news, that's why they're saying Intel. Why are they saying Intel AF1? Because I'm saying Intel, that's why. I'm saying Intel, that's why. So we're gonna find some other live. We might even go live on YouTube. We might go live on Facebook. We taking our time, because I already had a year I already had a set year frame. I already had a set year frame on when this was going to take off, and we're not even a quarter of the years into it yet. And it's gonna happen. Nothing nobody on this planet can do about it. Yep. Dealing with your digital fingerprint. Your digital fingerprint on the cyberverse is real critical. What you say, what you leave. I'm not talking about just when you're on your phone. I'm talking about when you're off your phone too. Do you serve a purpose, or will you be thrown on to the wayside because you serve no purpose? Right? I think it's called DEFCON 3. I'm not sure. I think it's called DEFCON 3. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. If you don't serve no purpose, then who's gonna come get you? I'm talking about a real disaster, a real natural disaster. You know, if you don't serve no futuristic purpose, ain't no helicopters landing in your backyard because you serve no purpose. It's getting to that point. People think that this is a game, is a joke, and it's really not. All this stuff is galactical code systems. Everything's being broke down in numbers. When I broke down the brother Zaraeus' phone number, it equaled the number 11. How ironic is that? That's not ironic to us because we already know this stuff is going to play out. We know it's real. Dealing with these ones and dealing with these zeros. We know it's real. Man, broke that brother's phone down, broke his code down in his phone. 11. So, like I said, man, you can get scanned. People get scanned. We know if you're full of crap or not. We just scanning. Organic cyborg. Now, what do I mean by that? Because I think we're scaring a lot of people away, a lot of the ones away when we say scanning. We don't care about your past life. That's one reason why we don't want them people over here, because they're always bringing up the past. What happened to them in their childhood? What happened to them, 2 years ago? Don't even matter. What we mean by scanning you, we mean your agenda. Agenda. Agenda, that's where the word agent comes from. Agent is a code for agenda. It's more intel for you teachers out there. Agent is a code word for agenda because they come in with an agenda. So that's why I ain't been really breaking a lot of stuff down, because now you're gonna have to be over here to get the intel, and it's only coming to a select few on the planet, and I'm receiving a lot of it right now. There's gonna be ones after us that's gonna be receiving it, and we call those ones they're gonna be super activated. Super activated. And plus, invading the cyberverse. Remember when Neo had to go inside the cyberverse and invade it to correct everything? That's real. Y'all think this stuff is fairy tales. It's not. A lot of these movies is actually, not even a lot of them, I'm going to say all of them. All these movies that you see, not even procrastinate. All these movies, every single one, they are real. They are real. They're somewhere in one of the 13th dimensions. All these ideas that they get comes from the dimensions. Unicorns, they're fucking real. Freddy Krueger, that's real. Trying to get some stuff that, what's it called, nonfiction or fiction? I forget which one means none, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Trying to get something else. Well, unicorns, I'm just trying to give you some fairy tale, because that stuff is real. It might not be in this dimension, but it's in one of the dimensions. That stuff that intel's being shot down to this planet from the upper dimensions, and certain people tap into it. That's why anything that you think of is old. It's 9.9 billion years old. It's just that you haven't pulled it in yet. And now that we're connecting back up to the top dimensions. We're pulling in what's going to be next and what's going to be futuristic. That's super intel. Moving through cyber currency is going to be real critical in the future. Moving through the cyber currency. So that's where these next ideas is coming from. Like we pulling in, we pulling, man, that's why we haven't been on the cyberverse so much, because you're already a proof is in the pudding. You got to go through those videos. You can go back through the Brothers Arrayas' videos at UNONC, go back to the Futuritarian Activation channel, and you'll see, you know, you go back to the videos that the intel's real. So now we're moving the intel into the physical world. And that's looking really plentiful right now. So I want to apologize to all the subscribers for the lie. Yep, they shadow banned us. That's fine though. It is what it is. We still moving forward. So yeah, dealing with the future ones, walking with the future ones that's in the future, walking with them side by side as the 11 ones with the ones, because you have ones out here with zero shields. What is a zero shield, AF1? I'm gonna do a video on the zero the zero shields. It's the activated AF1, peace, power, and soul. Like the way the world is. Don't like, don't share, don't subscribe. If you want it to alter, move at the speed of light. Next video is going to be zero shields.